Mr Chair. Were MLA employees present at Cibinong Abattoir in Indonesia on the 28th of September when Australian cattle were traditionally slaughtered in what I understand was in breach of SCAS standards?
MLA staff and consultants were at Cibinong. I can't attest to the date, but I can take that on notice. They've certainly been to Cibinong and done analysis of the abattoir at Cibinong.
Is it correct that this breach was not reported to DAF?
Look, Senator, I'm aware that an allegation has been made of breaches in SCAS compliance at Cibinong. That alleged breach is under investigation by DAF, and we are assisting DAF in those investigations.
But are you aware if a report was made to DAF?
Senator, our role is not as a policeman or a regulator. Our role is to assist supply chains with SCAS compliance, and we conduct that role diligently.
When will that report be finalised and will it be made public?
I've no doubt that it will be made public, but you'd have to refer that query to the Secretary.
I have to take that on notice, I'm afraid, Senator, don't know that stage of the
Thank
investigation.
you. Have MLA senior management been informed of other breaches of SCAS in importing markets by MLA employees or consultants that haven't been reported to DAF?
Senator, I repeat that our role is not to act as a regulator or a policeman. Our role is to assist exporters and supply chains with SCAS compliance.
I appreciate that, but in response to my first lot of questions, you did say that there was investigations into the alleged breaches. So if there's an investigation there, obviously you have a mechanism to follow through. So I'm just asking if there's any others.
Senator, I indicated that DAF were investigating the alleged breaches and that we were assisting them in their investigations.
So are you assisting DAF in any other investigations into other alleged breaches?
No.
Thank you. Were you asked to appear on Four Corners program that will be screened on Monday night?
I'm not aware. I certainly wasn't, Senator. There might have been others in the company that were, but I certainly wasn't.
Are you aware if anybody else at MLA was asked?
I'm not aware, no.
Thank you.
They haven't asked Chris back either.
I have been advised that the MLA and LiveCorp were crucial players in the industry government working group that delivered the SCAS regulatory framework.
Yeah.
Considering the events of what happened with Pakistan and Bahrain, will you be suggesting any changes to improve animal welfare standards?
Senator, yes, we participated in the working group and are participating in the implementation work. I mean, these SCAS regulations, I think, are really groundbreaking regulations, placing responsibility on an exporter for animal welfare outcomes to the point of slaughter. I mean, no other country in the world has legislation anywhere near approaching SCAS regulation in terms of placing responsibility on exporters right through to the point of slaughter. I think that they've delivered remarkable results. Whether they need further modification going forward is largely a policy issue, and that policy issue will no doubt be addressed by DAF and by the peak councils. MLA is not a policy body. It is a service provider for industry, And we assist in that process through research and expert advice, but the policy, the issue of whether SCAS has changed or further modified is a matter for the regulator and peak councils.
So you've described how you are a service provider. What feedback have you been providing the government on operational issues regarding SCAS?
Look, our feedback has generally been positive, Senator. I mean,
Even
I
after,
think.
even after Pakistan?
Can I just finish, please? I mean, I think SCAS has been embraced by industry to a remarkable extent, and it's led to remarkable results. I mean, the fact that in Indonesia you've got over 80% of animals there now stunned is just a remarkable change in that country in the period of, just over a year. So the feedback that we've been giving government is generally positive.
But isn't that what you call positive in Indonesia? Hasn't that been enormously undermined by what happened in Pakistan? So to be realistic and balanced, are you providing feedback that there are problems?
Senator, the issue in Pakistan wasn't an issue with SCAS, as the department has pointed out to you. The issue in Pakistan was a loss of control by government authorities coming in and taking control of the livestock.
So are you, considering that comment, have you received any feedback? Have you been in any of the discussions on the industry government working group about the impact that's had in terms of our relationships with Pakistan and other governments in the region with regard to the live export trade?
Senator, I think the issue in Pakistan has to be viewed as a very isolated issue. I mean, we've had stable trade to the Middle East for many, many years. I mean, our livestock trade to the Middle East goes back to the 1970s. I mean, there's few areas that we've had such a long history of trade, and almost universally during that time, that trade's been stable and led to good relationships between Middle East countries and Australia.
But this is from Live Corp. The report is that for the sheep exports, that they've dropped. You can see that very clearly on the graphs, and the cattle too, down 21% on 2010. Sheep down, I think it's 17% on 2010. So, I mean, there is a shift in the trade here. So to say that it's stable doesn't actually reflect the trade reality, does it?
Certainly there's a switch over in the trade. I think that's been witnessed over a long period of time. I mean, if I go back to 1995, we were shipping around about 6 million sheep to the Middle East. I think last year it was about 2.5 million. In 1995, we were shipping about 8,000 tonnes of lamb. Now it's 40,000 tonnes.
So there's a shift.
So yes, of course there's a shift. Yeah. And I think as markets mature and become more advanced, there is this shift. There's always a shift from live product to box product. But the live product gives us an early entry often into these markets, which places the entire industry on a favourable footing.
So just to go back to I still am surprised at the emphasis that you give, considering the key role that is played here, and we've had such a huge problem. Doesn't the incidents that have happened in Pakistan, which seem to go clearly to authorities there, and I think you acknowledge that, show that SCAS can never fully guarantee the animal welfare of exports from Australia, that can't be guaranteed?
Senator, I repeat, the problems in Pakistan were not problems with SCAS. I mean, the supply chain in Pakistan, both the feedlot and abattoir, were of high standard. The problem in Pakistan was lack of control through government intervention.
So precisely because of that government intervention, isn't that identifying the problem with SCAS, where you have people at desks in Canberra, where you have the audit after the fact? So it cannot actually stop these measures. So you can say it's not a failure of SCAS, but the SCAS system has been put in place. It doesn't stop the animal cruelty.